Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Aussie Starcraft, bringing you some more 1v1 Heart of the Swarm action. Bottom central location of Polar Knight is our purple Terran, complexity is QXC. Top central location is our red Terran, Apocalypse. Now, Apocalypse is a South Korean Terran player. These two players are meeting in the finals of one of the Thanksgiving Opens. So these games took place fairly recently, and there was a series of 4 or 5 games, but we'll just be casting 1 or 2 of them. Don't want to go crazy with the Terran versus Terran action, but there were some pretty good games during the tournament. So I thought we'd cast some of those and bring some of them here to you today. So we'll see whether indeed this mirror matchup turns out to be just that, a mirror matchup, or whether these players go for very different strategies. So of course, we're playing as Terran, we have a lot of different options at our disposal. Things like Marines, Marauders, Medevacs is always common, the old bio ball, but particularly after the recent couple of patches, they've actually made mech quite strong. So particularly in Terran vs Terran matchup, mech is quite popular. So we'll see if either of these players elects to go for the mech opening, or whether we see something traditional, or even some sort of blend, the old siege tanks and marines that we saw quite a lot of in Wings of Liberty. So it could be just about anything. Polar Knight, of course, a very interesting map. The central base locations make for quite a lot of interesting play options. Things like siege tanks able to exploit the edges of the map, and things like drops able to come in from almost 360-degree angles. So it's quite an interesting map, particularly in TvT, when it's hard for Terran to get static sight outside of their base. Things like Protoss have observers, Zerg have overlords, but Terran tend to rely on things like scan, which make it hard to pick up things like incoming drops. So we'll see if that factors in at all, and whether these players go for drops, or whether they go for something else entirely. Looks like QXC is going to be opening with his Reaper. Always a good first option to get out a bit of a scout, work out what your opponent's doing. Obviously, intel is the all-important thing in any strategy game, and Apocalypse is going to be going post on this poor scouting SCV. He's like, what did I do? He's going to make a break for it back towards home. So Apocalypse is going to shut down that line of sight. Actually grabbing a second gas is quite early, so potentially a potential indicator here that Apocalypse might actually be heading down the mech path. Do have the factory coming up as well. I imagine we'll have one shortly on the way for QXC as well. We do have... was there a first Reaper on the map? Yeah, the first Reaper is here, just harassing around. Hasn't got any kills as of yet. Did actually take some damage, it would seem, from these Marines. We'll see if he's able to get anything done, or if he's going to yet again take damage. He really needs to get into this base without walking straight up the ramp. Otherwise, these Marines are just going to be able to do way too much damage to him. So, unfortunately, the Marine count's starting to get sufficiently high to the point that you can't just harass them with the Reapers anymore. But we'll see if QXC can pull something off with these Reapers, or if they'll just be here to harass. He looks like he was going for that SCV that was constructing the starport. Unfortunately, though, it is going to finish up, and that starport's going to swap out to the tech lab. So this is quite easily scouted for QXC. Did see all those buildings constructing. So we'll see if it is going to be. It is going to be Cloak Banshee, in spite of the fact that QXC has quite a good read on what's coming out there. Command center going down now for QXC, as well as a factory and starport of his own. First Widow Mine going to be coming up, so that's always a nice defensive option against things like Banshees. Can't be seen, and if the Banshee either uncloaks or you scan it, it takes it out quite simply. So that Reaper is going to explode there. Jetpack whizzing off into the air. Is the second Reaper still alive? It is. So he is going to spot the time of this expansion coming down here. It's going to be built on the low ground, but QXC's orbital actually finished up, so he's going to have a couple of minutes economic edge, but he is going to have to work out how to deal with the incoming Banshee. So Banshee on the way, Raven actually coming behind. I love the choice of a defensive Raven. Defensive Raven, it's useful all the way through the game. It's going to help you detect your opponent's Banshees or other cloaked units. It's going to make life very difficult for an enemy to harass you, and on top of that, later in the game, things like point defense drones, seeker missiles, just so great. Apocalypse going to clean up the Reaper here. Oh, no. QXC's Banshee, not Banshee, sorry, Viking's going to make life a little bit difficult on this Banshee. Banshee's going to have to pull back. Cloak is going to be engaged, but oh, a nice scan there from QXC's. Oh, actually not going to take out the Banshee, so the Banshee going to force a second scan here, and this is quite an expensive choice. If you're having to throw down the second scan, is certainly something that QXC didn't want to have to do. Banshee actually up to 7 kills now, 8 kills, just so quick at killing those workers. Takes down 8 kills before it dies. QXC unfortunately having to throw down a missile turret as well, so that Banshee, if we think about it, it was a significant investment, but it did kill 8 workers, which is 400 minerals, and force 2 missile turrets, which is another 200, so 600 minerals for an investment of 150 minerals and 100 gas. So quite cost effective overall. Yep, 150, 100, plus the cloaks, another 100, so quite cost effective, and will be delaying QXC quite a bit, and QXC did have a substantial head start on that expansion, so that does equalise it somewhat. QXC with quite the conventional force gathering here, some siege tanks and marines, and actually a Raven of his own as well, which I got to say I like that choice from QXC, as when these two forces of marines and tanks clash, whoever wins the air battle will win the game. So we will we'll see how both these players try and position themselves for that fight. This Reaper still trying to be a little bit of a pest, and he's making a mad dash for life. Unfortunately, these Marines are going to be in a position to cut him. Oh, actually, sneaky, going to make it around the back. He's just a glutton for punishment, not even wanting to make a break for freedom. Going to sit here and shoot at the starport until a Banshee comes out of it. Probably not the best choice, and indeed he will go down. Shame the Banshee didn't get that little bit of payback. We actually have Apocalypse moving out now with his Marines and siege tanks, wanting to put a bit of an aggressive posture in the middle of the map. QXC, though, going to be mobilising forces himself. He's got relatively equivalent numbers of siege tanks, but unfortunately QXC's Marines nowhere to be seen just now. So it's 20 Marines for Apocalypse to only 4 for QXC. So QXC definitely not in a position to try and engage this. It's actually going to siege up here, and that's a bold choice. It's going to allow Apocalypse to muscle his way in here. They do quite a lot of damage here though. QXC managing to clean up most of the Marines, so he's going to lose all of his tanks. This last tank here going to, in pom-pom mode, going to fight off these few Marines, and Apocalypse unfortunately unable to push any further forward, virtually out of mobile units, and it's going to force a bit of a retreat. So QXC managing to hold that in spite of being a fairly substantial unit disadvantage, but that really is the defender's advantage in StarCraft. The offender has an advantage in that they generally pick the terrain for the fight, and they can dictate the momentum of the game by the choice of harass and attack they choose, but the defender generally, at the end of the day, has an uphill advantage. Things like these ramps and choke points tend to favour the defender, as the attacker has to come to him. So QXC using that to his advantage and managing to stay in this game in spite of the fact that Apocalypse significantly outnumbered. We have another Cloaked Banshee coming in, but there is a missile turret here. This Banshee is going to be able to get it, pluck off a kill on the edge, but the Raven and Vikings are going to be quite quick, and this poor Banshee is going to have to streak for home. Oh, unfortunately stopping that was a bad choice, going to cost the Banshee pilot his life, and I don't know what that triangular thing is that crash landed there, but apparently a vital part of the Banshee aircraft. Maybe it's the thing that holds these rotors together. That's what it looks like. Very good. Alright, so apparently that piece just falls neatly into the snow when you kill them. So who knows? You learn something new every day. QXC considerably stepping up his production now. 2 more barracks with add-ons coming up now. We've actually got 5 barracks and a factory and a starport, so quite a substantial production, though Apocalypse not looking too shabby himself. He's got another 2 barracks coming on the way to take him actually to a total of 7 barracks. So production going to be substantially higher for Apocalypse. 3rd base actually going down as well, and has a Marine in a position. Actually QXC and Apocalypse Marines obviously doing the pistol dueling, taking their 10 pace, and at some poor point these 2 Marines are going to work out that they're staring each other down, and things are going to get mighty ugly, mighty quick. And unfortunately for QXC's Marine, he still hasn't got his combat shield. That's still on the way here. About 30 seconds left, so we'll see if these two work it out, or whether these Marines end up tipping the fight decidedly in QXC's favour. Apocalypse trying to move forward. A scan going down from QXC. Can see the army position there. And Apocalypse can very comfortably just siege up here and deny QXC a third base for quite some time. Doesn't want to engage here on the high ground yet again. That would be a poor decision. Nice stim forward's going to take out the Banshee and force back the Vikings. Apocalypse there able to extract himself without taking too much damage. But the game Apocalypse just wants to play is the deny game. The longer he keeps his third base going, or QXC doesn't. Oh, nice drop into the main, and we have Apocalypse actually going to town here on the mineral line. These Marines actually going to make it out as well. So that lucky SCV, he's seen things, man. Just hiding here in the corner, managing to have his opponent's Marines just streak straight past him and evac over his head without dying. So QXC going to shut down any future drops in the back of his base, and we actually have a substantial unit advantage. Well, whether it's an army advantage, we'll soon see. Army supply, yeah, it is favouring Apocalypse, and QXC though trying to catch up here. The siege tank count though for QXC very nicely positioned, able to take out a lot of those, do a lot of damage to Apocalypse. But both these forces just staring each other down, unable to get the edge, and Apocalypse may well have to draw back here. QXC establishing his third base, throwing down some mules, and talking about things coming down. It is absolutely storming outside. So if you're wondering what that background noise is, it's not static. It's it's starting to look like a little bit of a thunderstorm forming. So hopefully we won't lose power. That'd be a little bit embarrassing mid-cast. So anyway, Apocalypse still trying to posture. Both players trying to secure their positions and try and get any sort of edge they can. I'd love to see these guys trying to threaten each other's third base just a little more. Both thirds are completely exposed. Things like a drop here could certainly tilt the favour one way or the other. We'll see economically almost dead even, 63 to 66, but a lot more mules from QXC. So a lot more income for him at the moment. But really, as a Terran... Oh, no, there's a big drop come down in the main. A massive drop in Apocalypse base from QXC, and this is precisely what he needs to try and equalise the base. But looks like Apocalypse is going for the front door of QXC's base. QXC actually forced a GG there as Apocalypse manages to break down his front door. We're going to skim back just a little bit there because we missed the start of that second engagement. The drop in the main of Apocalypse just catching us a little bit out of position, much like it did Apocalypse actually. But let's see, we have Apocalypse's base here, and we have the medevacs, so 3 medevac doom drop coming. But Apocalypse does spot this. You'll see his Viking here is probably going to shoot down one of these medevacs. 2 missile turrets here. He's actually just going to boost straight over the top of the missile turret. Nice angle around the Viking, actually managing to keep all the medevac dies to the last volley, but lots of Marines in here doing damage in Apocalypse's base. Siege tank here is going to help clean them up, unfortunately, so not doing as much damage as you like. And here Apocalypse just marches straight into the front of QXC's base and do a lot of damage to the siege tanks. All these SCVs going down to these siege tanks, and these Marines just going to muscle their way through and take down the tanks. So nice engagement from Apocalypse, having just enough defense. Unfortunately, his Viking probably would have been better served on a patrol on its own here, not doing a whole lot. A patrol would have helped to pick up those medevacs just a bit quicker, but things like the siege tank in the main base, if you're getting dropped a lot as Terran, you really need to start doing this. Get a siege tank in your main base with a few Marines does shut down the drop very quickly, even a larger drop like that one. So Apocalypse showing us how it's done, managing to defend his base and push in for the kill all at the same time. So QXC unfortunately unable to make it work today, but there are a few games in this series, so we'll be casting 1 or 2 more of this series later on. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Some nice TvT action for your evening. by all means, please share it with some of your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. We really love as much exposure as we can get, naturally. So by all means, go and share some of these games with your friends. Let them know we're casting here at Aussie Starcraft, and we will catch you all in the next cast. Thanks, guys.